Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Hello everyone, Carrie here, and as usual, it is June. It's the end of June, actually. So I've been waiting till the end of June so I can get as much of the Pride Parade miniatures as I can for BattleTech to show on screen. The artists will be credited, and I'm going to try to do it basically by mech, so it's going to vary, and you will see a lot of Unicorn Company. I tried to post a lot over the course of June. At least one a day, although on the last few days I've kind of ended up falling off of that horse. So, as mentioned, normally in June I talk about inclusion in the hobby and why it's important. I've talked about it every year, and it's just as important now, if not more so, because of the state of the world. We're going to start this on a personal note, because it sort of ties into everything. So, a few years ago, my dad passed away due to complications related to hospital psychosis that spiraled into dementia. And hell, for all anybody knows, the dementia was there, the hospital psychosis just sort of exacerbated it. Now, with my repeated run-ins with pancreatitis, I've dealt with fighting off the former due to an extended hospital stay, with my only link to the real world being visits from my partners and knowing beforehand that Tex was releasing a remake of the Your Urban Mech video, because this happened around Christmas one year. But enough about the hospital psychosis itself. This year, my brothers and I decided that we were going to bring my dad's cremated remains back to Pittsburgh for a proper burial and spend a couple days here for them to experience a place that was important to him. And for me, being the oldest and remembering the places, it was a place that I could sort of reconnect with or get reacquainted. During the whole process, which involved a road trip, trying some local varieties of food such as Ohio Valley Pizza and Pimenti Brothers, I can never pronounce it right, I not only got to see what a road trip with my brothers was like, but for what may be one of the few times in the past couple of years, I felt like I'm not just trying to survive in this dystopian hellscape that this country has become, at least from my perspective. That's a perspective shared by a lot of people in the LGBTQ community, one that, as a trans woman, I am all too familiar with. This brings me to inclusivity in wargaming. Usually the mantra that we'll hear when there's an LGBT character in the fiction is that they're raising a voice to say, don't bring politics into BattleTech or wargaming or insert whatever intellectual property here. The first thing that I think needs to be remembered here is that people aren't politics. As far as LGBTQ representation in fiction being political, the characters aren't political. Instead, the person claiming that they are is making it political because they want to wield that like some kind of sword or weapon. Next, pride color paint schemes. Yeah, they are definitely a thing. Some of them are more obvious than others. To be fair, though, there isn't much of it as the no politics in my games would have you believe. There are a handful of us that paint mechs, vehicles, and other minis in pride flag inspired paint schemes. The majority of paint schemes I have seen, quite a few people, like LGBTQ people, trans people at BattleTech events they're really well painted, and they're usually done in canon paint schemes or something that's inspired by real world military paint schemes. In the past few years, I've seen a marked increase in trans players at BattleTech events, and when I say marked increase, it has been quite noticeable. And I'm not going to one or two events in the past year alone. I've been to Southern Assault, the Trash Panda Open, Richmond Open, Battle for the Bay, God knows whatever else there is. Because I know I've missed some events in there. I bring this up because these people, yes, people, are here to play BattleTech because for them, for everyone, playing it is a hobby. And for some people, it's an escape from that same dystopia that I needed an escape from. LGBTQ people who play BattleTech, or for that matter any war game, are there for an escape, a release valve. And they don't like a game just because someone painted some trans mechs or because of a handful of characters that they might identify with. Those things help them feel welcome, but that's not the catalyst of why they are there. The reason they're there isn't to infiltrate or undermine your game. They're there to play, for an escape, and to have a good time. I know by now that odds are, if you're still here, you are one of three types of people. You are one of my regular listeners. You are someone who I've caught the attention of, and you find my points made here valid, or you are just hate watching or listening to me. I want to thank you for listening and hope that you've taken something away from this. I know I'm not saying a lot, and this is a super short thing here. It's less than 10 minutes. But I really do believe that BattleTech has always been an inclusive game, just if you look at it from a standpoint of what has happened in the history of the game, in the fiction, if you look at everything that's ever happened. And it's always going to be an inclusive game, no matter how much certain people yell and scream about it. I also know that, as usual, I'll lose subscribers because of this episode. I always do. I'd rather have that happen than sit quietly as I watch certain people I won't name try to make BattleTech and wargaming in general a hostile environment for people they don't like because of who they love or who they are. And have the bravery to be out and proud at events. Because Pride doesn't end in June. Pride isn't just in June. Pride is all year round, every time that one of us goes out of the door and faces the world. So that's it for tonight. Like I said, this is short. It's like less than 10 minutes. I don't even know if it really counts as a podcast episode, but it's what you get for June. Also, I'm sure I have enough mechs to keep it going, but if I do, this will keep going with some music for the Pride Parade mechs. If there's not enough to do that, then hey, it'll just wrap up. If you want to support what I'm doing here, you can go to patreon.com/unicorn company and become a patron. You can also become a channel member if you want to do that instead. If you like this, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell button to make sure you get any updates on new stuff that comes out. I want to thank you all and have a good night. Thank you to my patrons. At Captain, we have Sarah. Lieutenants, we have Boy in a Box and Nasty Taurus. Sergeants, BZ Archer, Steven, Faz, Housemaster Poding, and Country Fried Minis. And our cadets, Scott, Jamie, NB Kaiju, Domini, and Brother Carr. I also want to thank my channel members, Miss J. Speechly, Anonymous Only Agent, and Greg Swars. And finally, Unicorn Company's sponsor, Fortress Miniatures and Games. Check them out. They're a huge supporter of the community and the best place to get all your BattleTech needs taken care of. If you want to support Unicorn Company, you can become a channel member here on YouTube or a patron at patreon.com/unicorncompany. Links to my sponsors, also Country Fried Minis and Scott's Game Room, will be in the description. Thank you all, and stay safe out there, Mech Warriors. This is Carrie, signing off.